Hey, everybody. Thank you very much for joining me tonight with our conversation. Operation Contingency. Thank you very much for showing up. Jason, hello. We'll give another minute or two, let some other people jump in. Hope everybody's had a wonderful weekend so far. And let's see. So we were going to have two guests today. Unfortunately, one of them had something that came up unexpectedly that he had to take care of. So we will be sure to get him scheduled for a conversation later on. And hand pink waving. Okay. Yeah. There we go. It's funny. So on YouTube, Operation Contingency, it is a pink hand that is waving. On my side, on my notes, it says literally hand pink waving. So it doesn't actually have the hand. Gillian, how are you? Welcome. Thanks for joining the show. We have a great one coming up for you. Some great information you'll be happy to hear about, especially you, Killian. I know we've had the conversation about this a couple times already this last couple of weeks, or this last week or so. So, all right. I know we're going to have a few more people popping in, but in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead. We're going to get rid of some of this music, and then we are going to go ahead and bring on our guest. Hey, Jason, can you reach out to Jim and let him know we are, in fact, having a show tonight, if you don't mind? He just sent me a message. So, okay. So my guest tonight, a great guy. He is part of a really wonderful nonprofit organization and lots of insight for some additional resources as well. So please join me in welcoming Seth Smith, and he is an Army veteran. Hi, Seth. How are you tonight?
Doing great. Better now that we're talking to you.
Awesome. Jova Q, welcome. Thank you for joining. I appreciate everybody being here. So, how's your weekend been going so far?
Good. Been turning some honeydews into some honeyduns, and so that's all progress.
That makes the honey really happy, I'm sure.
Turns into honey happy, yes.
Happy honey, always a good thing. So why don't we start a little bit as far as this conversation goes with a little bit about you, your childhood, what your education, what prompted you to go into the Army, specifically the Army or military in general. I guess it's totally up to you, and we'll go wherever you take us from there.
All right. So I grew up in Middle Georgia, and grew up. I was born in '73, and so but most of my time was spent in Middle Georgia. My mom was a nurse. My dad was a park ranger, and so fairly humble beginnings in a small town of 300 folks. There was a high school that everybody went to in the whole county, and so it was right between Atlanta and Macon. Is where kind of grew up.
Okay.
I don't ever remember not wanting to be in the Army.
Really?
My mom used to tell me that she had to go to Kmart to buy plastic guns so I quit bringing sticks in the house.
That's
And
funny.
so how I landed on Army, I don't know, but that's just kind of the kind of where it's just what it was. And so I don't know if that a calling, but there's something that like that's all I ever wanted to go do since all I ever remember.
Did you play with the little Army men growing up?
I had all of them. I
Yeah.
had all the GI Joes. I had all the things. I had a full kit probably at 12.
Nice.
Me and my buddies would go play war all the time on the out on his farm, and so that's just Yeah, I mean, I joined. I was pretty upset that I didn't know I could have taken my GED and joined when I was 17. I had to like wait and actually graduate high school, and
Okay.
but in the interim, um, I graduated on the third and was headed to basic training on the ninth. So I didn't waste any
Holy
time.
cow.
I was ready. I was ready to go.
So Jova Q says, because no kid ever said, let's go outside and play Navy.
I saw that meme today. I was like, yes, absolutely. Nobody said, "Hey, I want to go play Navy." We absolutely were the pump
Uh,
BB gun wars. Like 3 pumps maximum. You
oh,
know,
you guys had some serious restrictions there.
yeah. I mean, we still had Geneva rules before Geneva rules were Geneva rules. Um, hey, you're dead for 30 seconds, and you had to count loud, or all the
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
Yes, that. And I couldn't wait. I didn't care what I was doing in the army. I just wanted to go army.
There you go. So, outside of your high school education, did you go to college,
I did.
or so
I
you took
did.
advantage
So
of the GI Bill?
absolutely.
Good.
Well, I was able to while I was in. Um, I finished up my master's before I got out.
Yes. Nice.
Um, and so I started early as soon. Now it did take 16 years to get a bachelor's. The whole war and moving around and stuff was a good
Hmm.
thing. But once I knew I was in that suck of just getting through school, I went ahead and I took a semester off, and then I finished up the master's degree because I knew I needed that for the long term. I knew I didn't want to pay for it on the outside. I did GI Bill to kids, and so that was yeah, absolutely wanted to make sure I got that done.
So, when you got done, you graduated high school, you went into the Army. Tell me a little bit about how your basic training went, the basic training itself. Any kind of funny stories, things of that nature that you can remember?
So I almost got failed out because of grenades. Because I couldn't throw there was a sequence of grenades that was always fun. I didn't know what day it was for 2 weeks.
2 weeks, huh?
2 weeks, no clue, day, night, like it was talk about being cut off from the world. It was at Fort Leonard Wood, uh,
Okay.
lovely Missouri. They had to bring out, because it was rocks everywhere. They had to bring out shovels and pickaxes because we broke all of our e-tools. Um, from there, I do remember, like I made it. So, and obviously to date myself a little bit, the thing I remember most about basic training is when we were done. They gave us back all of our personal stuff, and in my Walkman, I had a Black Crowes tape, and "Thorn in My Pride" was the song that came out, and I don't know, I almost came to tears. Like that was just I just remembered, like I'd wanted it for so long, so very long. Um, and it was a finally, like like I wanted it so bad. There was no, I would have died first. Like I was, and just I remember leaving the barracks, walking to graduation, and you had 70 kids that nothing could have stopped getting to that building to go get that thing done. It just and look quick, as we went on a bus from Leonard Wood to Fort Lee, because one of many things, I didn't have I had a very striated kind of adventure in the army. But when we were at Fort Lee, Virginia, learning how to be a forklift driver, like we were at night, and I didn't know you couldn't jump in formation, but like all the cadences, like I was jumping up and down, just so happy to be doing that stuff. It was just a forklift driver, but like I was doing it. And the drill sergeant pulled me out later. He's like, "What are you doing, Smith?" I'm like, "I'm just happy to be here." Like, get out. So he's smoking the crap out of me, and I'm just looking at him, just pushing, grinning. He's like, "Just shut up and get out of here. Don't jump in my formation." Um,
Wait, you learned something new that day.
yeah, don't jump in formation. It's like just sing louder. I'm glad you're here. Get out of my face.
Uh,
Um, but but yeah, that was it. It was definitely one of my buddies, his dad would mail in packs of Kool-Aid in between the letters. Somehow I was able to sneak it in, and that was our thing is we would split half packs of Kool-Aid. That's how deviant we were. To That was our rest or our getting over the man thing was sneaking Kool-Aid in the canteens.
it's, well, so as a kid, now I am a little bit older than you, but as a kid, I used to eat the Kool-Aid straight out of the packet. So I didn't even mix it with anything. It was
Well,
like a
that's
pixie stick.
that's the only way we could get away with it was to shove it in there quickly and move out.
That's funny. So, yep, yep. Christine White, thanks for joining. Hoping you're having a great weekend. So, how long were you in the Army?
Total was about 24 years.
Definitely a career. And can
Oh
you
yeah.
talk a little bit about what you did or anything that?
So yeah, oh, absolutely. I started off. I wanted to go be an ROTC guy at North Georgia College. Um, and so the closest unit around there, so I could do the reserves and get all that stuff, was a supply unit. I came up from supply,
Nothing
and
wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong
no,
with that.
that's a reference to to Heartbreak Ridge. Um, but I had like a 1.5 GPA and 3 girlfriends and was really really close to home and like it just had no money. And I was like, I'm out. So I went to a recruiter on a Monday, said, hey man, I'm on a bus on Friday. What's up? And I was headed to lovely Fort Benjamin Harrison to go be an admin guy. Um,
Okay.
I just wanted the heck out of Georgia. And so, but I was fortunate enough to land in a signal battalion when I went to Panama. When I got out of my, so I was in the reserves, came on active duty. They active duty as a admin guy, um, and went to Panama. It was awesome to be 19 years old in the country of Panama. That was phenomenal. Um, but I ended up marrying my sergeant major's daughter, and
How'd that
so
go over initially?
he set us up, and
Oh,
so
really?
absolutely, I'd known
He
him for a
liked you.
year. Known him for a year. Scouting was real big in Panama. Zoni died and left millions of dollars for scouting,
Oh,
and
wow.
so I was trying to go to school. I saw what was happening with the guys going to the clubs all the time. That was not my scene, and so I needed to do something. I wanted to give back, for all the scoutmasters that invested in me, and we got to go everywhere. So I knew his son first through scouting, and I guess I did something right because I literally worked 50 feet away from his office. So in '94 is when the Haitians came over to Panama. There's boatloads and boatloads, and so we had to go set up the thing in the field, an S3 in the field. So coming back late one night, 4 guys in a Humvee, the sergeant major, the driver. We just started talking about women, and my 21 years of experience. I just said, hey, we should just go back to arranged marriages. Just done. Joking, like, hey, you go down to CAF, short, tall, wide, skinny, don't matter. Let's just go get a wife one each and be done with this. It's more efficient. It saves money. All the things. That's wife one each. Let's go. And he's like, well, Seth, I have a daughter. You will be at my house Saturday for fish and grits, won't you?
Well, there you go.
There you go. So 29 years and 4 kids later, um,
Wow.
here we are.
Congratulations.
Um,
That's
and
awesome.
and so, but him being a signal guy, and so I thought being an admin cat, I knew all the regs, so I want to go be in the real army. Um, so I left Panama and went to First Ranger Battalion. Um, and so I was in Savannah for a while. It was time to re-enlist, and I re-enlisted. I'm like, Dad, what's a good job? And he's like, go be a satellite guy. So we left Ranger Battalion and spent 10 underwhelming months at Fort Gordon.
Underwhelming, huh?
And when I got done with that, he went left Panama and went to Hawaii.
Oh,
And as I was getting done with school, now he was a brigade sergeant major by now, and he's like, "Hey Seth, where do you want to go?" I was like, "I don't care. I just want to jump out of airplanes." And there was
okay.
one airborne slot in all of Hawaii, and somehow, I showed up uh, in that slot in Hawaii, and so I got to go to Hawaii there after getting out of satellite school, um, and then did my time in Hawaii. It was awesome. Philippines, Thailand, Australia, rinse and repeat. It was phenomenal. We went everywhere, and then I got an assignment to lovely Fort Bragg, North Carolina. And after
Okay.
bringing the wife, the princess got put in her palace. She said, "Hey, I don't care where you go, but I know where I'm staying." Um, and so I did everything. I did the Korea thing. I went from enlisted to warrant officer. Did Korea so I could come back to Fort Bragg, and I retired in 2015 as a commo warrant officer.
Wow. Well, thank you so very much for your service. Now, while you were in these 20 plus years of military career, can you think of any funny stories from that you?
I stole a C-17 one time.
No kidding. Tell us how that happened.
So there's a big difference in rank and power. And I had a bunch of equipment I had to get to Afghanistan, and we were doing a transition of radios. And year out, I went and talked to the E8 in the mobility shop. Hey, bro, I got 13 ISUs.
And ISUs are
I'm sorry, they're the big green boxes that go on the airplanes that you pack
okay.
everything up in.
Okay.
And then Obama decides to go to Korea. 50 plus C-17s. I had nothing to go, and I planned. This was kind of a big deal to get all the stuff done at a certain time. And all of a sudden, a C-17 became available, and a certain 06 wanted to use it, and the E8 told him no. My boss, even though I'm retired, and I know that I still kept in touch with my boss at the time, to this day will not show me the email that 06 wrote about how unhappy he was with me stealing his C-17 for a project I've been working on for 3 years, which happened
Wow.
to be called labeled Task Force Goat.
Oh
So
my gosh.
on all those green boxes, we had goat heads spray painted on the ISUs, because when you have a big ISU yard, as far as you can see with ISUs, you don't want to lose them. They're all green. So I made sure I had my little goat heads on all my ISUs to
Easily identifiable.
not lose them. What's another funny story? It's hard to think back through 24. I mean, the whole time was fun. I knew there was a pendulum. So when we were in the Philippines, and we were staying off post at the Holiday Inn, up in the hot tub at the end of the day, cold
Wow.
drinks. I was like, this cannot be the Army. This is nowhere, you know, pendulum swings.
Usually
Uh,
that's the Air Force, isn't it?
I know.
At least
Pendulum
that's a
swings.
rumor. That's just all
Yeah,
that's hearsay, but
but pendulum swings. It's -10 degrees. It's snowing outside. I'm in the back of a dump truck heading back from an exercise where my whole role was to get shot, and me, one other dude, and one whoopee.
a
So,
whoopee?
they're the most phenomenal piece of kit the Army's ever done. It's a blanket, um,
Oh.
and everybody gets issued one, and so I called Big Spoon, and we stayed as warm as we could as we froze our rear ends off for like 2 hours driving back. So you get to see both sides of the fun between
Uh,
the hotel in the Philippines and a very cold night in a in a back of a dump truck.
oh my gosh, the things we do, right? And you look back
Yeah.
and you're like, oh my gosh. So Jova Q says, Seth, you're telling too much.
Hey, I'm just saying, I was here to be honest.
That's right. We love honesty. Honesty never hurt anybody. We get a lot. I don't know if you can see the chats, but there is a lot of acronyms out there that I have no clue.
So you need you need to go buy a Whoopee.
A
That is
whoopee.
the best stocking stuffer you can get for yourself is a Whoopee. You'll think this thin little blanket, nuh-uh, but it is the best thing on the planet. That's better than any Afghan. Yeah, that
Hey,
was.
Killian, add that to my Christmas list.
You need a Whoopee.
A whoopee. All right. That's pretty awesome. Um, so again, Jimmy says, what happens today stays. Is that today?
TDY, yes. So temporary duty. It's a
Oh, okay.
it's a
I'm
it's a
civilian here.
play on Vegas.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
Hey, I still had to look that guy in the face for another 18 months. It wasn't comfortable for me either.
Well, yeah. I don't know. I would think that, being the big spoon versus little spoon in that situation, you probably did have the better, you know, side of things. But
It was rough, and I'd
yeah,
love to say that was the only time, but every now and then these cats like to get really like I'm. So there's a thin line between hard and stupid, and so we went outside. We had to go on a lovely trek in the woods for a couple days, and they had the geniusness of in March, don't bring a sleeping bag, and so the controller on the event was like, "Y'all can't do fires," and we're like, "You're a big dude. You're gonna beat us up, but we just may take times trying to fight you to stay warm." So we can build a fire and not freeze again. So they're again, whatever it takes, just make it through.
that's right. That's right.
Make it through.
Um, so while you okay, so you had all that time in the army,
Mhm.
and I'm assuming okay, I'm going to change this. I am not going to assume because it seems like every time that I make the assumption that I am completely told no. So, are you still in contact with any of those that you have served with or went to basic with?
So to basic, no, because that was in '92. So um, that kind of, but from a serve with, absolutely. There's a couple folks that, so one of the guys that I went through warrant officer school with, he was a W and I was an S, so we were in the same squad, and our whole time as warrants. So in Korea, I would go get these Korean, like legit Korean ramen, which he was a huge fan of, and you could ship from Korea to Iraq for free. So for $10, I could fill him up a box of stuff. And in Iraq, 110-degree weathers, he's eating like 5x hot Korean, just loving it up. So I mean that's us the kind of when I retired, because I retired before he did. He stayed to make five. Like he went to every presidential library and got every living president to sign a retirement memo or whatever like that. So I mean, it was
Wow,
yeah. He's a pretty awesome cat.
that's
And
pretty
so
impressive.
the definitely keeping up with some folks.
Good. That's very good. So Jova Q wants to know when and where in basic.
Um, June 9th of '92, and Fort Leonard Wood.
There you go. So I'm thinking he might have a little bit of insight. So we'll see what he comes back with. Um, all right. And what kind of when you retired from the army,
Yep.
what kind of resources did you have when you transitioned into civilian life?
So you had there's the standard back then, I guess they called it Soldier for Life. Um and that was a week, but that um that was not going to cut it. So while I have kept up with some folks, but I've focused on keeping up with people because the point of that is that I never got a job because of a resume. I kept it because
Okay.
what was on my resume, but the point of it was you had to go out and
Right.
network. And I knew we were going to be at Bragg forever. And so I took the Redux, we moved north. I had to go buy a big barn to put all my um, ankle biters, linoleum lizards, whatever the affectionate term is for your children. And so,
Oh, I've got a few.
yeah, exactly. Um, and so we moved up north to Post because I was halfway between Raleigh and halfway to Post. And I had the fortunates of being a technology guy. We took a lot of COTS, commercial off the shelf, turned them into GOTS, government stuff. So
Yep.
I was very, very fortunate to get to work with a lot of vendors. And so most, my last part of my career, I was dealing with that type of technology integration stuff. And so I didn't know what I was doing, but I started networking, and that's what it was networking early and often. And that's really the resources that people miss out on. What they have is they think they try to wait, I'm going to work to the last day, or the last day I'm going to jump into my retirement ceremony. um no, that's obscene. um
Really?
Too many guys get hurt because once you're done, you're done.
Yeah.
um like it's and so I can't advocate enough that 2 years out is when folks really, really get serious, because there's a direct relationship of your hustle to your success, unless you've got the rich uncle.
Okay.
Because generally speaking, the way folks go is, generally speaking, they're going to start their own business. That's a track. They're going to go back to school, or they're going to go work for the man. And so each track requires completely separate preparation. And the Army does the best they can with what they have to give a general thing, but it's really up to the veteran to get out there and reach out and start networking and understand and figure out the big things. um where where do I want to be, or what do I want to do? Because sometimes that what um not a lot of underwater basket weavers in Montana.
No?
Not
No,
a lot of
wait,
draw.
that's
Not a
true.
lot of draw.
I
Not a
can't,
lot of draw.
living in Montana, I can't say that I did come across
Right.
any basket weavers, whether they were underwater or
Or above, right?
otherwise.
So that you may want to think about maybe more of a coastal application of your skill set. And
Yes,
so
yes.
so folks understanding it and getting that part figured out is incredibly important. Also having an open mind. My current role is a customer success person. Um, I had no idea that was a thing.
Yeah,
Um,
can you elaborate a little on that?
so I work for Microsoft, and I deliver. So whatever those crazy sales guys sell and throw over the fence, I got to go make it work. Is kind of the thing. Um, but it's
You're
on
the go-to guy.
it's on the delivery side, so not sales. But once the customer has bought it, I go figure out, work through all the training, work through all the integration,
Okay.
the sustainment, the O&M tail, all that stuff to make it a functional system. And that's what customer, literally in the title, making your customer successful with the stuff that you have.
Nice.
And so and even in, Microsoft's a massive company. I've only been here about a year and a half, but there's still other roles that I'm finding out that are still out there. So um, having an open enough mind to think that you want to be this one thing, um, that your skill set that you develop while you're in the military, it can be applied in a bunch of different ways. You just kind of got to go figure out what some of those things are.
Nice. So what going back just a little bit, what kept you motivated during your time in the service?
Um, well, number one was the person on my left and right because I didn't want to fail them because we were in it, and that was the number one motivation was we're going someplace to go do a thing. It ain't gonna be because I let my left and person on the left, person on the right down. That was very absolutely. Um, yes, I'm an American. Yes, I love my country. But it was to the person on the right and the left that I wanted to make sure that it wasn't my fault that they got hurt, or it
Right.
wasn't my fault that I let them down, or any of that stuff.
Yeah, and I completely understand that. I think that isn't just a sign of a good service member, but also as a good person in general. And that sounds like it's a skill that you've carried forward in your career after the military as well. So that's something it's really hard nowadays to teach that, I think, to kids, um, to learn that because very few kids, have to watch both sides, you know what I'm saying, and see and
The,
help each other out.
the ultimate compliment would be, um, no matter whatever award or whatever rank or whatever. It's just, hey,
Oops,
that's when we're in
keep
basic.
going. Oh, no, that's an old
Yeah,
comment.
yeah,
Go
yeah.
ahead. You're
But
good.
the ultimate reward was that's a good dude. That's really, whatever it took. That that's the only Seth. He's a good dude, and then that was the
Nice.
qualifier.
Nice. So I didn't get to talk to you a whole lot over Veterans Day
Yeah,
weekend.
we were a little busy. I apologize about that.
No, no apology necessary. You were there to, you had a job to do, you had goals you had to meet. And, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't in the way. And so tell us a little bit about um, the nonprofit or nonprofits that you might be involved in.
So it's a singular one. It's mind over land, and that was a play on mind over matter. One of the things that I found when I retired is I lost my tribe, and I bounced around and tried to do this or try to do that or in the civilian world when you lose um that place where you've got a common experience. It doesn't matter if you're army or navy or a puddle
Mhm.
pirate or the guys that got thrown out of the army in 1947. None of those guys mattered. It's you all have a common experience, and not being in that environment where you could have that was I needed that back. And so um, me and two other chiefs we kind of got together. We grew out of another organization, and we wanted to be hyper focused on we wanted to be hyper focused on one thing and executing that well. And for us, it was vehicle based adventure. And so that's kind of the part we've been going for a year now. Um,
Is
we
that it? Just a year?
we our official launch was um, Overland East in 22.
Wow. I
Uh,
would have thought, based off of the number of veterans that you had there over Veterans Day weekend, this last Veterans Day, that you guys have been going for at least 5 years minimum.
no, I mean that's just a testament to my teammates, and just the great work that Jonathan and Chad are doing, and us just kind of coming together with a common vision of, hey, let's go help vets. Let's go disconnect so we can reconnect. And so that's kind of been the vision over this next year. 70% of the trips are already full. um, where we want to make sure we reach all vets, So we on these trips, there's at least one female on each of the trips, and so it's not just a good old boy club or whatever else. It's truly
Right.
it's veterans, um, writ large, because that is the qualifier that you
Is that
have
you must be a veteran?
that you have or you have served or you are serving, but
Okay.
that's the only qualifier. Uh, everything else literally doesn't matter. You just need to be that veteran, because that is the qualifier. That's a common experience to go back through. So 6 trips a year, all up and down the East Coast. They're about a 96-hour evolution. So we'll start. We go to a start point on a Thursday evening to start at 08. A month out, we'll have a warning order. A week out, we'll have an op order. Kind of lay out the tracks that we're doing, and it's a good time. Like the only thing people care about is what service you were in and what vehicle you drive as an attack vector, just to talk smack on each other the whole time. The whole radio net, we have a whole radio net just for gentle encouragement of each other is would be a way to phrase. And if you happen to maybe do something interesting and you get a trail name that sticks, there could be a guy named Ditch. There could be a guy named
Right.
Buzz. It's so fun to hand people who haven't done things in a long time tools, and you just go get in a chair and watch them. And this particular individual turned into a ballerina as he skipped 3 steps to the left when his trailer lit him up. He
Oh,
was a grounded, very, very grounded person at the time. And so, yeah, I may or may not be ratchet strapped. We won't go into that. But
yeah, I am now so curious, Seth.
maybe next year. Maybe next year we'll
That's
talk
fair.
about it. But yeah, we have a really good time. We try to go get out. We try to move any barrier to entry as $50 for the trip. We pay for gas and food. We all have more camping stuff than our wives know about. So if
Hey,
somebody needs something, like we just really want folks to be able to get out and get back in a crew that understands, truly understands, what they've gone through. And gone through sounds, that's a negative term. That I want to just go back to the common experience, basically, that there is a common experience of the camaraderie that stuff builds, and you don't get that in a normal civilian job.
yeah, and that to me, in my mind, that makes sense. Because you all have, even though different branches, the commonality of the fact that you were all military at one point or other, and seeing all of that firsthand over Veterans Day really does make sense to me. We do have a question from Jim,
Sure.
and he wants to know if Mind Over Land is by invite only. He said he has a friend that he believes would love to attend it, retired Army, 30 years.
No, like I said, the only qualifier is that to folks that go on the trip are veterans, and so if they go to www.mindoverland.org, that's where the sign up is under the events, and sign up. If there's not if the person doesn't have a rig or something like that, we generally always have an open seat. And so there should be, again, whatever it takes to try to get the veterans back out together. That's what we try to facilitate.
Oh, I edited that. I didn't want to edit. Let's try that again. It just doesn't want to edit for me today. I think it's like solar flares or something.
There's a canuter valve issue. They're 182 degrees out of phase. When that happens,
really?
you don't communicate at all.
Wow. Okay. Well, I learned
How many
something new.
lieutenants bought that hot mess?
What did I don't know if it's fake or not, but I got this news flash on my phone today saying something about the son ended up with like a hole in it, like a really big hole. I'm like, all right, well, we're all still kicking, so not too concerned.
If you want to cut and paste, I put the that in the chat there to send for the website to go. That was a blood sport of warrant officers messing with lieutenants because they knew everything and they were really, really ready to tell you.
There we go. Okay, so I've got that link set out there for any veterans interested. Again, he said that there's 70% full on pretty much all 6 of your rides. Right. So make sure that if you've got veterans that you think might be interested, tell them about this, send them that link right away so that they can get themselves signed up. Killian, this goes for you as well, kiddo. Let's see. Joe McHugh wants to know what kind of vehicles you need. So,
very loaded question. Highly opinionated, loaded question.
Yes.
And so I unabashedly am biased.
And what's your fave?
Well, there only is Toyota.
Thank you. I'm a Toyota person myself. I love Toyota.
And so if you want to bring a Fiat, that's fine. If you want to bring something like that's found on the road dead, that's fine. So generally speaking, they'll need to be front and rear tow hooks. The vehicle will need to to have 4-wheel drive. And that we do a lot of forest service, so we're not rock crawlers by any means. Now there'll be some interesting trails, and so the ask would be, hit us up at info on the website, let us know kind of what you're thinking about, and we can have a conversation on what your vehicle is to go. So a lot of folks that go, and just kind of, again, generalization, they'll have good ground clearance, good skid plates, and that kind of stuff. I will tell you, a lot of it deals is more with the driver. So we had a guy that took a stock F-150, it's 4 drive, but a stock F-150 off the lot, and drove all the way to Colorado and back and did all the big things. But he also was an SF guy who was a mobility guy. So like it's close to a professional driver as you can. So that it's a balance of experience and vehicle capability. Most of the stuff that we do, Subarus can take. It's really about traction more than anything and picking the right line. And so good all-terrain tires are fairly key. But yeah, I would just encourage folks to reach out. An 87 Riviera is probably not what you want.
I can say my what I saw when I was there was probably short of a Jeep lot. The most Jeeps I think I've seen all at one place. It was Jeeps and Toyotas. Pretty much that was the extent of what was out there. Let's see. Jason says, going back to nicknames, he said he worked with a guy named Wrong Way. I can only imagine that one. Okay, now Killian, I have to throw this. Killian has, I think, might have taken some offense to pirate or puddle pirate.
Well, so what we do with that is we make sure that if we're going to something, a puddle that's 6 inches deeper, we call back to those cats like, "Hey, you got your floaties on? You guys ready? We're about to go do this." And so, so they all we carry extras, and we generally we make it through. Now we don't leave them behind because we'll be a towboat for them. But we generally take care of our guys.
Let's see. He said at one point, let me see. He said 24 years in the army was my first red flag.
As it should be. That's
Right.
that's a hyper valid point.
Hmm. He says, it's okay. Let me know the next time you need less than an army division to secure a beachhead. We have
So
a lot of good
I do
laughs
have
out here.
a kind of a funny story about some Coast Guard stuff. So we were doing some antenna testing, and it was right there was a bunch of stuff going on in Haiti, and where I really knew, and we all mess with those cats, but um, we were getting a tour of the ship to figure out if we were going to be able to be on that ship for a week or two to do testing, and the joke that the chief was like, yeah, the new guys sleep on the at the portals because below the steel where the glass is, because they deal so much with the drug runners that they put the new guys by the glass, not with the steel. I'm like, well, that's quite a way to get broken in.
Yeah, more
So
ways than one.
we jest, but I'm pretty sure they got shot at a lot, a bunch or equal as much as they go do their stuff.
Let's see. Killian wants new tires. He's really excited to join. I think he's hoping he can, if he hasn't already signed up, he needs to do that for January, I think is what he was looking at. So
Oh yeah, because we're getting ready for the Florida stuff. So that's awesome. And the other thing too is, it's never a bad thing to sign up. We'll be able to talk folks through. But going out and seeing all the rigs, like don't go spend a bunch of stupid money on stuff. Come look at everybody else's failures, and learn from all the crazy stuff that we've done. So you guys can learn and then go build kind of off what you guys are doing.
Ron, welcome. Thank you for being here. So, okay, let's see what else we got out here. Jovacu says, what's about a 78? Okay, I can't talk, so you can read that. Go ahead for it.
I mean, that's a bold choice. That's a very bold choice. I don't know. I think maybe if there's a locker in the rear, we can figure something out. I don't know.
Okay. Operation Contingency says they do look like a person that secretly wants to be an Air Force guy.
Only because I know that human. Is that that's true. If the Air Force still had warrant officers, there would have been a crisis of conscience when it came time to move over. So I completely agree with contingency because that's kind of how he lives his life in a weird like, oh help me please. So when it's an oh help me please, there's really only one guy he calls. And so yeah.
All right. So you've got 6 trips coming up in
Yep.
2024. You're already darn near 3/4 full on every single trip, which is amazing.
Absolutely.
Now, are you looking to open up more trips for those like family things of that nature outside
So
of just veterans?
absolutely, that's where we want to go. So I had a very great mentor of mine talk about good to great, and so we're trying to follow that model of we want to be good right now so we can get to being great at it. And so part about being good is doing I used to have this team sergeant that would tell me, hey, if you take care of the small things, the big things take care of themselves.
That
So
is very true. That's facts
as
right
we
there.
build up and as we get good and as and we get better at what we're doing, we'll be able to open up and do those things because the target person for impact right now is the veteran. Now we
Right.
know there's a whole other level of outreach for veterans and families that we want to reach, but it's a completely different experience if you have a bunch of grizzled veterans as we go out and go have an experience vice young teenagers and toddlers going out on a trip.
Right.
um, your logistic chain is different what you have to make sure is available is different. And so we had our, our one for 2023, our family event was the Veterans Day. So we'll do that again in 24. We're looking to have a trip where maybe we do some base camp where we go to a spot. That way, if there's issues and Johnny's not feeling well, it doesn't one person doesn't wreck the entire adventure. So if we go to
Right.
a base camp, that gives time for little Johnny to get good for that day, and then he goes out again on the next day or whatever. So long way to saying yes, but not yet.
Well, the way it was set up now, of course, I had not been to any prior to, because I'm not a veteran. Support veterans 100%. That's what I do. That's what this is all about. But I really liked the way it was set up. And again, thank you guys for letting Jason and I be a part of that and
so happy
talk
to
to
have
other
you guys out
veterans.
there. Absolutely.
So make sure you put me on the list for next year for veterans.
Well, if you want to come back, absolutely.
Well,
You'll
yeah.
We're most likely we're going back to the same spot.
Nice, because it's really not all that far.
We had a great relationship with the property owner, and so 11 months out, that's generally speaking what we think the potential trajectory is. But we obviously will keep in touch and make sure that you're back on that road down there with those good folks.
Excellent, excellent. We won't miss that. We'd love to be able to join. Okay, anybody out there in the chats, if you guys have some questions for Seth, now's the time to get him in. We want to make sure that he is ready to go. He's got a meeting, a call at 8 o'clock his time. So we've got another 8 minutes or so. So if you've got any questions that you want to ask or ribbing you want to do, now's the time to do it. Let's see. Oh, and yeah, so Killian really does want to go, and he is Marine. So
oh, good. No, they're the best, because I love messing with the Navy cats, because the Marines is really the men's department, and so they always right up front. They always eat first in chow. Oh yeah.
So have you dealt with Marines in your military service?
Correct. Yeah. And so, but we only allow like one or two of them at the same time, because we don't want to get overran. Like it's bad. Really, really bad.
Oh my gosh. Let's see. So Jim says, thank you very much for your service and continuing to give with mind over land. I know we're going to have your counterpart on. I think he's rechecking his schedule.
Sure.
To see, and
also just kind of give a shout out to Chad. The reason he wasn't here is another organization called out, and there was an emergency that we had to take care of locally. It was nothing with his family or not, but he got called to go serve more, and so it's not my foot hurts, I don't want to go do this thing. But yeah, he Chad's out doing good things.
Yes, all of you are. Again, I really, really appreciate you coming on. I know I've got one of your other counterparts coming on. Jonathan will be on as well at some point. So
Jonathan, you need to talk slow and have a lot of pictures.
A lot of
oh yeah. Like maybe
Jonathan. Stuff. If you are watching Jonathan, you need to really just give a little.
I'm just saying, we'll have to hug it out later. It takes all kinds, even Air Force kinds. And so yeah, bless his heart. Let's just go with bless his heart.
Aww. Well, you also are a great group of individuals. By the way, going back a little bit, today, I don't know if you have heard, Seth, but today was the day for the voting for the CNN Heroes.
Oh, that's right.
Absolutely. I know, and I have not heard how Stacey Buckner did.
So actually, it starts in 6 minutes, I think, is when the programming starts.
Okay. Well, we'll make sure that we jump on that. I know I've been voting for her. And I know Jason had as well. So hopefully we'll see kind of where she landed with that. And we'll get her on as well. Oh, it's live on 8 p.m. according to Operation Contingency. Thank you very, very much. Yeah, well, I sincerely appreciate that. I'm not seeing any new questions. Want to make sure. G23, hey, thanks for coming out here. Appreciate that. Make sure to, if y'all have friends, family, make sure to send them the link for Conversations with Yvette. Make sure it's the -TT8JB because, YouTube gets themselves confused. But, and, when we hit 100 subscribers, we're going to be doing our first giveaway. I have a gift certificate, will be a tumbler, t-shirt. So let's get those numbers up. We have less than 20 to go, so pretty excited about that. So be sure to share with your friends. Also, when we are done with this particular live show, make sure to go back in, give a thumbs up, and throw a little comment on there. Much appreciated. So we're going to go ahead and wrap it up on this end. Seth, do you have anything you want to share?
No, just www.mindoverland.org. We've got merch that's out there. A couple military themed T-shirts. I'm the reason for the safety brief, and things like that as kind of how we go after to raise funds. We do obviously we take donations. With $50 a trip, we're not bankrolling brand new G-Wagons for the organization. So anything helps to come and support veterans and support this mission.
Awesome. That's wonderful. Let's see if I can get this to work for me. There we go. Okay, so we got that out there. I also went and put it on the comments, and we are out. I want to make sure, again, Seth, you've got time for your show or your call. So again, thank you everybody for hanging with us tonight. We're going to add a little bit of music, and if you want to just hang tight for a second, Seth, let's see what we got. Everybody have a great night, and thanks for joining us for the conversation. Let's see. There we go. Killian said, Seth, you redeemed yourself towards the end there. You're a great dude. Ron Wayne, thanks for showing up, buddy. That's right. Comment and thumbs up and share this with your friends and family. Everybody have a great week coming up.